Welcome to TiffDoesLoans podcast. Today I have JJ Azizian. How are you?
I'm great. How about yourself?
I am so good. Thank you so much for coming. JJ and I met through a mutual investor that I met in Newport. And he told me that, I just have to meet JJ and I have to go, be a part of his community, which I did. I think it was just days. Immediate when he sent me the information, it was like the next day that he's like, you need to be on this call.
That's cool.
And I did jump on that, and yeah, I've stayed in contact and made already like great connections, even from that one call. When I got off that Zoom, I took like 3 calls after that, like kind of back to back, and we're still in touch with each other.
Yep.
And we still check in with each other and see how we can help each other. So all great. I just thought that was amazing, me hopping in there, and like, you can't just do that in any group. So that was something that really stood out to me about you, that I was like, okay, I need to get to know this person more. So why don't you just start? So thank you so much for coming. And
welcome.
just kind of get us started into your real estate journey. I personally know that you were in film. So how those kind of how you got to be one of these top investors in building communities.
It's funny you mentioned film.
Yeah.
I spent several years in the film industry in Los Angeles. We have Hollywood here, and I was working on music videos, feature films, commercials, episodic television, and that was my foray into networking.
Yep.
I was working in the film industry when there weren't smartphones, when pagers might have been the thing, but the way you got work was by seeing who else worked on what show, for what company, for what production manager. And then you'd go and you'd follow up. So you needed to know who was working with hair, makeup, camera, wardrobe, art department, who were the production managers, location scouts. So you needed to get out and meet everybody. You couldn't just sit within your little bubble if you wanted to work.
It's definitely more convenient now.
Yeah, and that's
you had to go figure it out. You had to get up.
That made the real estate aspect for me easier, because when I got into real estate several years ago, one of the things that I heard we all hear every day is your network is your net worth.
Yeah.
And so, what does that mean? Our success of our business is predicated by the 5 or 6 people we engage with the most. And why is that important? Because we want help.
Yep.
We want people to work with us. Well, successful people, work and help those they know, like, and trust.
Yep.
The key word there being like.
And trust.
Well, trust comes down the line. People need to know you before they can like you.
Yeah.
They need to like you before they can trust you. So in the beginning, when a new investor is building their business, you need to build your relationships. You need to build your network. And that means you need to be visible so people know who you are.
Yep.
People can't like you if they don't know you. They can't know you if you're not visible. If you're not visible, you're invisible, and opportunity walks right past you. And what do we all want? We want the same opportunity, the opportunity to build relationships with successful people that will help us.
Yep. And it's definitely harder. I still kick it old school. I go to a lot of events.
Oh, mandatory.
So I do, yeah. But honestly, you'd be surprised. Like, I go to a lot of these real estate events all over, like Newport, Orange County. I've gone to Beverly Hills. I've gone to Vegas. I've gone to San Diego. But I go to them live, and honestly, there's not a lot of lenders. There's not a lot of loan officers, which is fascinating to me. So, I did almost 100 last year, but I have that old school ethic. I'm, still to be seen. But I feel like with social media and stuff today, some don't. They try to do it all from their phone and aren't putting themselves out there. Do you kind of tell your newer investors, do you kind of pitch that, get out into the live events and stuff?
Well, it's mandatory.
Mandatory, okay.
There's no better connection than meeting someone, shaking their hand, how are you doing? If I'm talking to someone, more like, talking to one of the guys, so to speak, I'll touch them on the shoulder. How you doing? Nice to meet you. If I'm engaging in conversation with one of the ladies, one of the women, I have to be more careful about contact. You don't want anything to be taken inappropriately. You have to respect someone's space. But the handshake is huge.
Yeah.
Handshake is huge. Looking someone eye to eye.
Yeah.
You know, what we're going to find is who we resonate with.
Yeah.
And we're going to better be able to measure that in person. Do we resonate with them? Do they resonate with us?
Yeah. I'm a vibe person.
Yeah.
I feel like you are too. Yeah.
Well,
Definitely.
you know, it's funny you say vibe person. I was a kid that grew up very shy. I stuttered. I was insecure. I didn't say anything. Bullied, actually. But, you know, as I've come through that, what's most important for me is, you know, I've developed a really, really good people picker.
Yeah.
And I can get a good feel, like, you know, you're awesome. I love you. You're fantastic. You have great personality, great energy. You are in person who you present yourself to be on camera.
Oh, thank you.
But it's about connecting with people, and I want to see who I resonate with. I want to see who resonates with me. And I say all the time, for my networking group, real estate is all about the relationship.
Yeah.
It's all about the relationship.
Yeah. And I feel that too. Like, I like how you said that you're a picker, like, and that's why your network, like that group that I went into, like your community has over almost 5,000.
Almost 5,000 people.
Almost 5,000, all like vetted by you. But I like how you compared it to what you've gone through that has helped you, you know, basically where you can kind of see that good or bad, or that good intention or bad intention from somebody almost immediately. So you think that kind of helps you get the, you know, because when real estate investing, anything, there are going to be a lot of bad seeds, you know, or just trying to chase a big paycheck. Cutting a lot of corners. I mean, there's always going to be these people in all these industries, and probably more in real estate, because there are, you know, there's more blurred lines, and, you know, little, you know, people are finding the loopholes and all these things. So I feel like that's a really good, like, do you kind of feel that you do that? Like,
well, you know, with my group is called JJ's Mastermind Networking.
Yeah.
I have it's not a Facebook group, although we have a Facebook page and we have a website. So, you know, part of my group, I like to say screen people.
Yeah.
But, you know, something as basic as friend requests. If you're just adding people to your friends list and not getting their phone number, you can't talk to them. You need to get to know who you're adding, because we have family and friends. But if we're going to add another real estate investor, we intend to do business with them, ideally in one way or another. We need to get to know them sooner than later. And if we're just adding people to our friends list, not getting to know them, what value is there? There's none.
Yeah, and I love that.
So, you know, I want people to register for my group. Give me your phone number. Give me your email address. Where do you live? City, state, and zip code. So I can maybe connect them to people that they need boots on the ground in a certain city. I can introduce them. Or people need boots on the ground in their city, your city.
Yeah.
I introduce them to you. But it's about, you know, getting that information. As real estate investors, we're going to have a CRM. We're going to have a website. And we want to be able to, with the push of one button, email 1, 2, 3, 4,000 people and say, hey, this is my investment opportunity. I need a private money lender, or I have property for sale. I have a wholesale. I have a rehab, whatever it may happen to be. But we need to get people's information, which is important. Yeah. With my group, you know, there's a lot of groups out there that will take anybody. They just want to blow up their numbers.
Exactly. And that's a big thing nowadays. It's like all about the views, but really, I mean, you can have not a lot of followers or not a lot of views, but maybe you get a couple hundred, but you still get 2 quality people out of there that have been watching you, that trust and respect you, versus if maybe you get a lot of views, but no one's actually like attempting to get your product or your service.
One of the things I say frequently, I've got a couple different sayings, but one of them is, don't chase the deal, chase the relationship. People need to build their network before they need it.
Yep.
Ran across an investor about a year ago who said, you know, I'm not ready to network, I'm building my business. So, well, let me get this straight. You'll have your business built to the right of no one to network with. Because as one builds their business, one's going to have questions. I'm at this fork in the road. Do I go left or right? I'm in this fork in the road. Do I go red or green?
Yeah.
And the more people you have to ask questions to, relying upon their experience, the better decision one is going to make.
Yeah.
So it's just important to build our network as we're building our business.
100%.
I tell people all the time that you can't talk to a buyer or seller without talking to another investor, because you want to lead with value.
Mm-hmm.
But in leading with value, you as an investor, you want to resonate with the seller so they go, I'm going to work with Tiffanie.
Yeah.
So how do we develop that skill? We can't develop it just because we're walking into the game. A lot of people say, well, do cold calling, just practice do cold calling. But as you're building your network, you're talking to other investors. And there's a certain way I go about having people learn how to polish their interpersonal skills. But the more you practice talking to other investors, the more you're going to polish your rap, polish your elevator pitch, polish your delivery.
100%.
And the more people, and what happens is you're getting to know people.
Yep.
And as you're practicing your rap, you're getting to know people. And now you're developing friendships with real life investors who you can then add to your friends list, as opposed to just sending out anonymous friend requests, hoping that these people are going to accept you with no message to introduce yourself.
I feel like I did kind of that a little more at the beginning, where I was just kind of like asking them to be my friends, or even when I first started, or on my own, so not in loans, but like just I went with the brokerage. I started going to those events, not even really thinking about it in how it would affect my business. I was just like, later in life, I want to be a multi-investor, so maybe I should go to these. But then, like what you said, polish. So now, I consistently have gone to these events, maybe like a year and a half. And now I know all the lingo, and, there's so many things that go into it, and so many different niches. And now I'm starting to like connect people, and, people know me now at this point, but I didn't even think of how it would affect my business in that positive way. But now, like, every time I go, I'm like booking a podcast, or, I'm like, now I'm having them follow me. Like, now I have a checklist of things that I do every time I go. But that's like, it's incredible, because I thought that way too. Like, I need to build my business before I can get out there, because I feel like if we're not adding value, but really the value add is going to come once because somebody might give you the exact information that you need.
Another one of the things I say is that you don't market your business, you market yourself. I have 7 LLCs.
Yeah.
But I'm not marketing 7 LLCs, I'm marketing myself.
Yeah.
People are going to go do business with Tiffanie Phillips because they like Tiffanie Phillips.
Yeah. Doesn't
matter which company you go to, how many times you might change your company name, what aspect of what department, what division of your company you're representing, they're going to go to Tiffanie Phillips.
Yep.
So you don't market your business, you market yourself. In building relationships, I tell people, as we practice building rapport within my group, everyone has their name and their phone number on their Zoom window, and the 2-letter.
I know, the whole time while someone's talking, I'm like in the chat box, just like, I'm literally in the chat box the whole time. Like, I'm already, like, I'm going through everyone, like, okay, what do they do? What are they saying? And then I'm like writing down their information, and like who I want to connect with, and some of them like go through and talk. So I'm literally doing that as I'm listening. So by the time I'm done with that hour Zoom, it's like I've either already set up meetings, or we've already texted each other, or we've already like poked each other like, hey, I need you,
Well, and with my weekly Zoom calls, one is a networking and branding call, another one is a guest speaker call. Yeah. But I'm constantly introducing people to other investors. I'm saying, Tiffanie, talk to Heidi. Justin, talk to Peter. And getting people to engage with one another, introducing newer investors to experienced investors. Yeah. Even though someone might be experienced but new to the group, I'll introduce them to someone else who's in the group for quite a while, although they might be a new investor. I'm introducing someone from one community to a different community. So we're expanding our platform of the number of people that we're talking to. But I'm always trying to help people with marketing themselves, building their visibility, building relationships, learning how to network, and then building their network. Yeah. But, what I focus on people say, what do I post? What do I talk about? And I'm a brand new investor. I have imposter syndrome. I don't bring any value.
Yeah, that's the hard part. I think that's the big killer in our minds is when we're new, we don't think that we have that
here's how I
value.
tell people to get around that. When you're a new investor, you want to get to know somebody else. Mm-hmm. So how do I talk to, I don't know anything. How do I talk to somebody else? Well, what you want to talk about when you're meeting someone new, whether you're experienced or not, whether they're experienced or not, you want to get the dialogue to where people are telling you about themselves. Mm-hmm. Everyone's favorite topic is themselves.
Yeah.
Everyone's favorite word is their name. Isn't that right, Tiffanie?
Yeah.
Tiffanie, yeah, I love Tiffany. So
I've had to learn how to listen.
What we want to talk about when we're talking to another investor, we want to lead with the acronym FORD, F-O-R-D, like the automobile. Family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. These are the things upon which we have commonality. Mm-hmm. You know, the new investor will say, I don't have any value. I will say all the time, I'll help anybody. But if my friend, I'm going to help you more. If you're going to build relationships with these 5 or 6 people that are going to greatly impact the success of your business, ideally they're successful.
Yeah.
They're going to be busy. There's going to be 100 people pulling at their shirt sleeve. Mm-hmm. So if you want to get their help, you need to build a relationship before you ask for anything. So the key in people help those that they know, like, and trust is like. You want to get people to like you.
Yeah.
Because people help those that are just like them. They'll help people that they like, no matter how inexperienced they are.
Yep.
So the key is, how do we present ourselves? We need to build relationships. We build relationships by building rapport. Mm-hmm. We build rapport based on commonality. How do we discover these commonalities? When we talk about the acronym FORD. But I will go to your Facebook page, Tiffany, to see how you're presenting yourself, to see what we may have in common. I will put on my Facebook page things that represent who I am to better market myself, so others will see what I have in common with them. One's Facebook page is their digital business card to the world. People will say, well, I have a personal page and I have a business page. I'm like, that's wrong.
Yeah.
You want to put a couple of real estate things on your personal page so your family and friends know what you're doing. No one's going to know you better. No one loves you better. No one's going to be a bigger source of referral or recommendation than your family and your friends. Mm-hmm. But when your real estate community goes to your page, we're all in real estate. Yep. Whatever community, we're all in real estate.
And everybody knows somebody in real estate.
But the key then is, what about you makes you different from somebody else that they're going to want to work with you? What's the commonality? Mm-hmm. So they're going to see, do you have kids? Do you like a sporting team? Is there some type of music? Did you go to a concert? Do you like to travel? Oh my gosh, I like that too. She's just like me. I love her. Yeah. So it's establishing commonality. That sounds
just like me.
Yeah, establishing commonality. You know, like the brand new investor will say, I don't know anything, and you don't need to know anything. When you're going to an event, you're meeting. You
just need to know people, yeah.
Well, you need to develop the ability to talk to others. Yeah. Because it doesn't matter if the person is very experienced or brand new. And let's take very experienced people. I don't know. I don't have any value to talk to that person. The experienced investors at live meetups are not just looking for other experienced investors. They're looking for someone that may be new. Maybe they can cold call for me. Maybe they can drive for dollars. Maybe they can be an assistant.
Maybe they can be
an
intern. Someone that they need.
Well, you know, they're looking for people that could help their business. Mm-hmm. What they're looking for is someone that looks them in the eye. Yep. You know, how is your presentation? Are you dressed well? Do you present yourself well? Do you listen? Yeah. Do we slow down?
I've had to learn. That's been a battle for me. But even this podcast has helped me with that. We're even in the beginning. And when I first started the podcast, I went on LinkedIn and I went on Instagram, and I didn't have anything to show for it. Like I was pitching it, but like I didn't have any content yet. Mm-hmm. I didn't have, the platform is built now, and now it's easier. People see and hear my message, and now I can go to an event and like find, when I'm talking to someone, I'm like, you know what, you'd be great. Like, are you interested type thing. But in the beginning, I didn't really have anything. And I went and I would go through and I would look for realtors because I was trying to add value to them, because in the tough market, I I was like, how am I going to add value when like I can't take them to coffee, you know? It's just like 2023, times are tough.
Yeah.
They don't care. And you know, the deals aren't coming in super fast for anybody or anywhere. So I started it that way. And I went on Instagram and I started looking for people that were like me, maybe in between like 2,000, 5,000 followers that were posting consistently, that were giving education, like tips. So then when I did hit them up, I'm like, hey, I'm going to, you know, I'm going to host, I'm doing a podcast where I'm interviewing to educate and empower our borrowers. You know, is this something that you would be interested in? And most of them, you know, and that was at the beginning when I really didn't have, but I found what I thought was kind of like-minded people that I see that they like kind of have my vibe and they kind of have the same message. And I mean, it ended up working, you know? So that was kind of like that avenue, but I feel like that's kind of what you need to do a little bit when you're new.
Yeah.
Like what you're saying, like even if you don't know anything, like kind of put yourself into a community where you do know a lot about something, maybe.
Yeah, and it's not even a matter of how much you know.
Yeah.
You know, I realize that most any community, there's so many of them out there. In my networking group, we've got people from over 50, not 15, but 50 different real estate education programs.
Yeah.
From all over the country. And it's not so much about what you know, in the days of our grandfather, you know, business is all about what you know. Go to college, go to high school, go to trade school, learn something.
Yeah.
In the days of our father, it was about who you know.
Yeah.
It's all about who you know. But today with social media, the internet, every education group that we're in for real estate investment has people from all over the country, Hawaii, Alaska, other countries. It's now about who knows you. So we need to market ourselves. We need to put ourselves out there. As you say, we need to walk into the room and meet other people.
Yeah.
If we're standing back in the corner just listening and watching from the distance, it's not benefiting us. We need to go up and meet folks. And the only way we're going to get better at talking to others or
just
engaging
do it,
is just doing it.
Yeah, because I've always been pretty like expressive, you know, like I've always kind of been like the loudest in the room or the, you know, like I could walk into a room and just kind of talk to whoever. But my big thing, you know, we all have our thing. My thing was now I'm building my business and now I need to shut it and listen. So that was the learning curve for me. I could talk to anybody, but I needed to learn how to listen to people. So that was my curveball.
About listening, you know, as we build engagement with others and build a relationship with others, we want them to feel comfortable with us. So what we want to do is get them to talk to us about themselves.
Yes.
How do we get them to talk to us about themselves? We need to bounce around the topics of family, occupation, recreation, and dreams till we see what's really the top of their game right now. They just had a baby, they got a new puppy, they got back from their honeymoon. Oh my gosh, I just saw a concert, I traveled out of town to see a sport team.
Yeah.
And once you get them into something you really like, you just kind of keep asking questions, and pretty soon they're just on a roll.
And now it's a lot easier because now we do have like social media, and like most people, like probably over 90% have some type of social media like Facebook or Instagram, TikTok, and they are posting what they're doing, what they like, all these things. As to like back in the day, you just get a phone book and all you have is a name. You don't know anything of what these people believe in, what they like, but now we do have that. So it's like,
ideally,
we really have,
you know, I run into a lot of new investors, and they don't put anything on their page, and they're concerned about privacy and don't want to put too much out there. But I say, well, now that you're a real estate investor, you don't market your business, you market yourself.
Yes.
You have to allow people in your community to resonate with you, and they can't resonate with you if you're not letting them know things about yourself for them to go, oh my gosh, she's just like me.
Yeah. 100%. And then okay, so you're also investing.
Yes.
Yeah, you've been an investor for a long time. So what kind of investments are you doing out here? So I know you do commercial. Is that all in California?
Well, all my commercial holdings are in Southern California.
Okay.
I've got 3 shopping centers. I've got about 25 doors. I have a condominium here in Southern California. For those that know, Redondo Beach is in the South Bay. Beautiful condominium, beautiful panoramic view of the ocean. It's really nice. It was my mom's favorite place.
Okay, I love
now
that.
it's a rental that I own. I have a house in Cleveland, and the reason for going to Cleveland is many investors don't want to invest in California.
There's a lot, yeah.
It's
in
a
Ohio.
high buy-in
It's
and a low return of investment.
Yep.
Now, not a low amount of money, a low percentage.
Yep.
I
The
went
cash flow.
to the Midwest, to the middle of the country, Cleveland in particular. It's a lower buy-in and a higher return of investment. And actually now we've just paid off the private money lender for the rehab. So now I think our return on that house is somewhere in the neighborhood of 30% return.
Nice.
It's crazy.
And that's after a couple of years, but see, you get to that, right? Like, and what about I do have a lot of investors that are going to Ohio. So you did that a couple of years ago. Is that a market that you still follow that you would go into now?
Yes. There's a number of hot markets, and and how do we find the hot markets? We can go to the internet, but within my group,
yes,
I look to see who's successful. Even people that aren't in my group, I go into my different education programs to see who's posting on social media, on Facebook, on Instagram. And I look for the people that are visually successful on social media to build a relationship with them, to see if they'd like to join my group.
Yeah.
Because what I want to do to build my business is surround myself with successful people.
100%.
That's the most important thing. And through the people I've met, I found Florida's a hot market. Texas is a hot market. Georgia's a hot market. The Carolinas, North Carolina's a hot market. Tennessee is exploding. Illinois, Indiana.
But they all have their own. It's important too to get with people that are doing it there, because each of those that you listed, they're great, but they also have their certain areas certain niches that everybody's doing. Like Florida, I know everyone's doing like pad splits, like Jacksonville, Gainesville, and then Georgia, it's like buy and holds, like in Atlanta. Like they're not doing a lot of like no pad splits, not Airbnbs. So that's also like what I do on the show too. And now I can I find them that are crushing it in different states, and then now I can send the video.
Everyone has a different field of expertise.
Yeah.
Every location has a different focus.
Yeah.
Some are more short-term rentals. Some are buy and hold. Some are, multifamily. Everything has there's certain areas of the country have different, more prominent types of investment.
When did you start doing the commercial out here, like the shopping centers? Is that a long time ago?
I got really lucky. My dad started investing in commercial years ago. And, my mom was a school teacher. My dad worked for a shipping and trucking company. He didn't go to college. And I was the first one in my family to go to college. I went to USC, school here in Southern California. But he started acquiring one property basically every 5 years.
Okay.
And over 30 years, every 5 years, he accumulated 6 shopping centers.
Oh, wow.
And, as a young child, I was taken to them in my teens. I was taken to the properties. And, I expressed an interest as the years went by to participate. My dad was like, I got this. I don't need you. It's my thing. Well, eventually, as he got into his 70s, he was ailing. In the latter part of his life, he had congestive heart failure.
Yeah.
And so there came a point in time when I realized that if I didn't jump in and learn from him while he was there, that I was going to have to figure it all out by myself. Yeah. I did set up his rent rolls. I did with spreadsheets. I did set up his bill keeping and tracking income with Quicken. So I knew the structure, but I needed to get in there and learn how to deal with contractors, how to deal with tenants, deal with the bookkeeper, with our tax advisor, with our trust attorneys, how to do contracts, how to go to City Hall and pull permits. And so, before my dad passed, I was learning how to do that. What I never learned how to do is be an investor. And so after he passed away, I was running everything for the family, my mom, my brother, myself. And a friend of mine says, hey, do you know about these investment programs? I said, my dad went to these seminars, learned quite a bit.
Yeah.
He did pretty well. He says, well, I'm going to go to this seminar. What do you think? I said, well, would you like me to go with you? This was about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And I went, and I thought, it wasn't right away. I thought, well, let me get into this thing, put some money down and see what I can learn. And, my objective was to double, triple, quadruple, 10x my holdings. So fortunately for me, I had the experience in running properties and dealing with contracts and dealing with attorneys. Mm-hmm. And that's just made a lot of what I'm doing easier. I've been really conservative in building out my portfolio, but I realize that as I get going, the one thing that's going to get me to where I want to be will be the relationships that I create, the people I surround myself with. So what I've been focusing on these last handful of years is networking. And right off the bat, I found people didn't know how to use social media.
Yeah.
So I'm teaching what I would call Facebook 101. Yeah. How to post, how to comment, how to build out your bio, what kind of photo to use for your profile photo. How to use and leverage Facebook's algorithm for activity to maximize your visibility, to enhance your opportunity for assistance from the rock stars in the community. I tell people that of all the communities out there, 90% of the people are not visible on social media. They're doing the curriculum, they're doing the YouTube videos, they're doing the Zooms, the training, the Discord, the Kajabi, whatever training vaults they have or things of that nature, but they're not leveraging social media to be visibly present for everyone in the community to see who they are. Now, what do they want? What do each of us want? We want the assistance of the rock stars in the community to work with us and help us. And they work with and help those they know, like, and trust. Yeah. So in order for them to like us and know us, we need to be visible. So
you got to show your life.
I teach investors how to be visible, how to market themselves.
I started doing that. So, because most of my reels were like loans, but I felt like then it would just feel like I was always posting about loans. So I started doing the stories. So all my stories I do like every single day.
I do your stories.
Yeah, I do my stories of like me going to the gym, and like I'm very consistent, and like I'm I'm very disciplined. So now through those stories and doing them every day, I have a lot of people hitting me up now, like I'm inspiring them, like they've been running again, like they haven't ran in years. And so that's been something, again, that's came from that has been more rewarding, or like, that I didn't even think.
And you're marketing yourself. People relate to you.
Yes.
They like your topic. They like how you present yourself. So they like you.
Yeah.
Then they want to get to know you. Yes. They want to do business with you. You're a perfect example of everything I talk about when I say how to put ourselves out there. This girl, Tiffanie Phillips.
TiffDoesLoans.
I love you. You're great. You're great.
I had to change my name, and now my name is that. So even if I'm just, and that's what I told your team, or when we were in the Zoom. Because if you put it in the name, so now even when I'm liking or commenting, even to other people, even if I'm not fully engaging, my name is going to the top where it's like TiffDoesLoans. So it's popping up every day. So eventually that day, because everyone's going to need a loan, it's just a matter of not if, when.
Exactly.
So then if I just keep popping up like TiffDoesLoans, so that's kind of where the mindset is. But I try to tell if you can, put it in your name. And that's gonna help. Have you stay in front. Yeah.
It's about, I tell people all the time, if you're not memorable, you're forgettable.
Yeah, I am memorable.
Oh, you're very memorable. Like you say, constantly being out there. Posting, a couple times a week to not 4 or 5 times a week. But being visible.
That's more consistency. Honestly, over a year ago, when I first went into the broker world, I had so much anxiety. I could not be on camera. So even the people that had known me before, like it took me about 3 months after I went on my own, and a roommate of mine, she basically told me, she's like, look, if you're not going to post, then you're hurting your business.
Definitely.
Like your these goals that you have, like sure, maybe you'll get there, but this is where the future is. This is where the people are. This is where you need to connect. And you talk about growing your business, like, who cares? Like, your voice is fine. Like, I had every little excuse. Like, I hate my voice. I had so much anxiety. And then she's like, look, no one's even watching. Like, just start posting it. And within like 8 months or a year, now, I mean, I host, like, I do videography, now I can edit everything. But now I put my whole life, like, I'm sending video messages. So it's really, I think, like, a lot of people, we just have to get over that fear and those limiting beliefs of, like, when it comes to being on video or putting yourself out there.
You talk about visibility.
Yeah.
Again, I get these little catchphrases, but one of them is, if you're not visible, you're invisible. And if you're invisible, opportunity walks right past you. We all want that same opportunity to build relationships with successful people. So
yes,
it's mandatory that we're visible.
100%. And I'm at the point in my life, like, I am ready for the opportunity. Like, put me in, coach. Like, I am not stopping. Like, I always say, like, I'm climbing up my mountain of greatness right now. So I'm going to definitely be visible. I'm going to keep being visible. What, in this, okay, so since you've done all the commercial, like, inside and out, would you still do commercial deals out here like that? Like, more like retail? Because those are, like, that's shopping malls. So more like retail? Are you kind of staying away from that in this market? Like, how have you pivoted?
With commercial, you're not dealing with tenants. You're not dealing with residential tenants.
Yeah, like business.
So you don't have a toilet that's clogged at midnight. These businesses are open during the daytime hours, so you're not going to get all the issues that pop up between 9 p.m. and 6 in the morning. So, and you ideally have less of those issues because you're dealing with one tenant as opposed to maybe 30, 40 people in a multifamily building.
Yeah.
That's going to be more lucrative, possibly, depending upon how big your commercial building is or how big your multifamily building will be. I think, everything's going to work everywhere. I'll say that, multifamily can't work in Southern California, but I'll have 5 people come up and go, well, look what I'm doing here.
Yeah. And I think, it's still good in California. It's just you have to be fully aware of the renting law, of, like, the rights that renters have. Because now it's just, people are really struggling, like, with squatters and stuff. So that's why a lot of it is, like, go in different states. But if you have, like, a proper property management, right, that's really vetting the people that are moving in, I feel like it's, like, I'm a good tenant. There's still really good tenants out there. I just feel like you might have to put a little more into the beginning, almost like dating, like, make sure that you're vetting them and make sure that they align with the other people in the building. Because every once in a while, you're going to have somebody that has, like, a job loss or something, But if you just have a full building where if everybody just kind of lives a different type of lifestyle to where it's like you don't even know what's going to happen, I mean, I feel like that would be really hard out here because then you're going to end up with, like, a building full of squatters.
Well, you talk about residential California. It's not ideal.
Yeah.
California is not a landlord-friendly state. They call it a blue state.
Yeah.
So if you want to be a landlord, you're going to want to be in a state that's more conducive to your goals and objectives. They call that a red state. So you want to be in states that are landlord friendly.
Yeah. Ohio's good with that. Texas, all the top ones.
Florida. A lot of the investment people, a lot of places where people are investing are the red states because that's where landlords want to go, particularly for residential property. You talk about things we don't want to encounter. I have even found as a commercial landlord that I have to put things in my leases now I never thought I had to put in before.
What? Like what?
Well, gentleman had brought a pit bull into their residence and the landlord didn't allow it, so he brought it into a barber shop. and was keeping this dog in the crate all night long and letting it out, and it's now making its
Yeah.
morning mess in the parking lot. But it's just like
Oh wow.
no dogs on the property. Another tenant had a little service store into a different building, a service store into the HVAC room where the HVAC is being serviced. Well, there's another little service store to another area. It's on the second floor, and I had opened a little door to make it a bigger door so they could store things in a. It wasn't climate control, but they could store some things in there. And so I'm there meeting the tenant in the morning, waiting for the HVAC guy, and I open the other door. And I look in. He has all this ammunition and weapons and
Oh my gosh.
AK-40s. And this is a financial planner.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh my god.
so now my leases are no dogs, no weapons, no fireworks.
Oh my god. I mean, just like anything, you live and you learn.
Yeah, it's
when
funny.
you first start, you don't really have a claw. It's even, just like anything, as you. Yeah, I always call it like qualifications, Like when I was in my 20s or, I'm just breezing through, not, I'm hanging out and doing whatever, going wherever. And now the qualifications are, like a lot different. Now I got like a list, like, no.
Yeah, we just learn along the way.
Now you're not getting in. Yeah.
I was talking about leases this morning with my business partner. And in many leases, there will be a section there about if one of the individuals, landlord or tenant, something goes to court and there's litigation, you're going to be responsible for all the fees. Well, my attorney says you want to take out the section that says the other person's responsible for all the fees, because on the small chance I lose, then I have to pay that other individual's attorney bills, everything. So now in my leases, we just say maximum of $1,000.
Okay.
If you win, you keep so it's not like they're going to get a grand
just
killing.
all of it. Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why you need a good attorney that catches.
Well, yeah, and they've helped me tweak my commercial lease and my residential lease.
Yeah, you live and you learn.
Yeah.
And then so this market has been very, very tricky. Just trying to maneuver. I'm sure you have a lot of investors asking you, what is, after talking, you have this community full of investors. What kind of niche or like, what do you see happening the most that most of your investors are like more successful at right now? Like wholesaling? Do you think it's like, people are leaning towards Airbnbs?
Well, when people get started, individuals are told to wholesale.
Yeah.
Because you can turn over a transaction, make a good amount of money, do another one, do several of these, and maybe you can afford to like hold something.
Yeah.
Some people will spend more time, 5, 6, 7 months to do a rehab, completely renovate a property for a bigger return.
Yep.
There's a little bit more risk involved. And then ideally, we want to buy and hold, but some people want to get to bigger holdings, they'll go multifamily. The industry will always change in a cyclical fashion. There's cycles. And they're going to go up, they're going to go down. My father's perspective was to have more of a conservative perspective, to go through the long haul. The more risk you take on, the more chance you have of losing things. That's where what's going to benefit one is the experienced people you have around you to help you with the decisions you may want to make should you start deciding that you might want to take upon more risk. So it varies from state to state. It varies from month to month or year to year. Multifamily, if people can get into that, which is a bigger buy-in, if you lose a couple tenants, you still got 80% of your tenants to carry the building. Yep. As opposed to if you have one house and the one tenant's gone and you've got no rent coming in for 4 months, you're going to take a hit. Yeah. But can everybody afford to get into the multifamily? Maybe not right off the bat.
And I think it's more of like a trust angle too, because whoever you're going to get into that deal with and hand your money over, you want to make sure that they're vetted too, because that's more like a long relationship. You want to make sure that they're communicating with you. I've heard some, a couple horror stories there.
Oh, the horror stories are out there.
Yeah.
I say all the time, I'll buy a house from anyone where the numbers make sense.
Yep.
I'll sell a house to anyone whose money clears escrow.
Yep.
But if I'm going to allow you to be my private money lender, where I need to account to you for the money you've lent me, or I'm going to be your lender, where you need to account to me for the money I've lent you, or we're going to be joint venture partners, I need to make sure that individual has a heart, character, and integrity
Yep.
of someone I'm going to invite into my home to sit with my kids and my grandkids and my parents and my grandparents.
Mm-hmm.
Meaning someone I resonate with, you have to build towards trust. If we don't resonate, if I don't get that warm and fuzzy feeling, I'm not doing business with them. If I've got people come up and they make it perfectly clear that they could really care less about getting to know me, they could care less about the personal relationship, I'm not going to do business with them.
And I feel like that's really, really number one in multi-investing, the partners, because that really is like a long-term relationship.
Very much so.
Yeah. So it's like the other things you can kind of do on your own, or, but that one is, I definitely, I tell people, like, if you want to do that, like I've been connecting with some people now that I've known for a year or two, and I know that they're trustworthy, but those, I feel like you have to put yourself out there and go to the networking events and meet people.
Yeah. And you mentioned it before, the networking events are just gold. They're gold. The thing I have found as I go to events is I'll go and I'll, take selfie photos with people, say, hey, can I text this to you? Great. Can I have your number? There are different ways to exchange our number back with the individual that we're taking a picture with. Part of what I do after these events is I follow up. We've got to follow up with the people that you've met. Just don't get their number and take a photo. I've found that just about only 1 out of 10 people, maybe 2 or 3 out of 10 people, really allow me to follow up with them. A lot of people go through the motions. Sure, here's my number, take a picture, but they're not really interested in following through. I think part of that might be them being reserved about seeing the importance of building a relationship.
Yeah, but also that could be, because you never know where people are in their, just like you said, if people are more nervous. So they might be going to the events, like I do follow up, but there's definitely a couple that I haven't followed up with. From each.
And it's going to come down to who are we resonating with.
Yeah. Yeah.
And ideally, you've got a very magnetic personality. Mm-hmm. People are going to want to talk to you, get to know you, follow up. Oh, she's wonderful. And that's why I tell people, when you're an investor and you're going to an event, you're on. You're the Disneyland tour guide. You need to have the smile, and people know me for smiling and pointing at the person I'm with, and just leading with your personality. The new investors will say, I don't have anything to offer, and I will ask them. I said, are you married? They might be, they might not be. Do you have any kids? They may or may not. Or their parents are around, or they might be responsible for their parents' elderly care, or the care of their child or grandchild or niece or nephew. And I will ask them, I said, if your parent or your child were to become injured, you'd want to know what happened and why it happened, and you want answers, and you're going to step forward to be the matriarch or patriarch of your family and represent that family with integrity and strength, because you're the provider. Well, as a new investor, when you go into a meetup, don't go in as the investor. I don't know anything. I'm shy. I'm quiet. Realizing you're going in there with the intention of creating a business for your family, to provide for your family. Mm-hmm. You're going to want answers. You're going to want to lead with that integrity of the person you're now representing, your family.
Yep.
And when that new investor walks in there with this new mindset that I'm strong, I want an answer, I'm going to work hard at this, the individuals they're talking to are going to see that strength.
Yeah.
With the newer investors, I'll tell them,
just walk in with
I'll help anybody, but if my friend, I'm going to help you more.
Yep.
But if I'm going to help you, I want the most valuable thing you have to offer as a real estate investor. And I'll say, what is that? They'll want to say, oh, it's my time, it's my network, it's my experience. I say, wrong. The most valuable thing you have to offer as a real estate investor is your friendship.
Yeah.
Because without your friendship, I don't get your time. I don't get your experience. I don't get your network. Mm-hmm. It's about building relationships, seeing who you resonate with, allowing people to see the true heart and character of
Not
who you
letting
are as an individual.
And not letting everybody in.
No, yeah, so we need to be selective.
Yes.
See, you know,
I'm all about selection now.
we're not going to resonate with everybody, and that's
Those
okay.
are my 30s, yeah.
And they're all not going to resonate with us, and
Yeah.
that's okay. We find our tribe.
Yeah, I'm definitely, I mean, even from a small age, I haven't always been everyone's cup of tea, you know, so that's never really held me back, but but I see it and I could feel it from others. Because yeah, even at a young age, I was always kind of the loudest and you know, and I've had to work through some things, but now, yeah, you got to be okay with not being for everybody.
Yeah.
And I could, you know, and I'm a lot. So I know that I'm not everybody's cup of tea. Yeah. Like sometimes, you know, but usually just like anything, it's not always, you know, sometimes it could be you, don't get me wrong. You know, we all have our days and our moments, but it's not always, it could also be what, maybe it's not just you particularly, maybe it's what this other person has gone through, and you know,
people have bad days.
Yeah, and there's going to be more projection, so I just kind of go in like, okay, you know, and you just got to, especially in real estate, you know, this real estate game is my old loan officer, like manager, he used to always say, like, this is like 95% rejection. Like, even as a loan officer, we're taking all these calls. Like, we're supposed to, at that old company, we took like 100 calls a month. And the metrics or the matrix here is like, you do 100 calls, you like take 10 applications, or like, no, you probably take like 50 applications of that. I think I was supposed to pull like, I don't know, 40% of the credit. And then it's like you get 5 that are shopping and like 2, you know, 1 or 2. So you're really only, maybe you're going to get in between 1 and 5 each month, like out of this 100. So he's like, yeah, this is like 95% rejection. Like, you have to keep coming through, even though that you're just for that 5% of like a deal.
Yeah.
Like, so it's like, and same thing, like mine's a little different being a loan officer, but, they, you know, you guys still, it's the same thing, any part of real estate. And it's more saturated now. Like, you know, there's a lot and low inventory. So,
people,
yeah, there's so many people. We're low inventory. We're in a totally different market than we've ever been. You know, I haven't weathered through the other markets, but I've definitely, like, you know, heard what happened to them. And, you know, this is nothing like any of the other ones. This truly is like a rare, like a new market shift that we've gone through these past couple of years, especially to have the low and then the really high. And, you know, it's like, and with all just everything else that's gone on, you know, we had pandemics and elections and like back to back, where it's like constantly our businesses are being like shifted and stuff. So I just always encourage people, like, you know, and you have to get to a point in your life where the right people are going to find you. So,
Which is what being visible comes in.
yeah, just keep, I know, I'm just like, I keep posting at this point. Okay, so final, what is to come for JJ's Mastermind Networking 2025?
Well,
what are your aspirations?
You know, I would say I'm not sure. This is something where we are today is not anywhere where I envisioned 5 years ago, 6 years ago. It's just sort of grown.
Yep.
I'm doing Zoom calls on a weekly basis with guest speakers from many different fields of expertise from all over the country. I think I found my niche, which I'm probably this year will be getting into the lending field.
Okay.
And I've been approached by a couple people that I've known for years now who are very experienced and successful in 3 different fields, which are more behind the camera type of thing for real estate investment. And as we're moving forward, you know, they've approached me being more of a visual person about helping to market and expand to the communities, you know, what we have to offer, which will, you know, just be, you know, funding, putting together a pretty good fund And I think the key part of that is we're going to deal with people that we know.
Yep.
So what's going to be in store for this year is, I want to kick up my social media game like yourself.
Yeah.
It's important to do shorts, stories, reels, whether they're YouTube, Instagram, Facebook. But I plan to put myself out there more, be a little bit more visible. Building a house in Southern California that should be done this summer, of which I'll be having a monthly meetup of 30 to 40 investors, once if not twice a month. Thereby having a platform. I mean, there's meetups, and a lot of them are in a pizza place or a bar, whatever it happens to be. But if I can have it in my home and have 30 to 40 people with an unbelievable view and comfortable setting, they can stay as long as they want. The restaurant's not going to kick them out.
Yeah.
And have people to come into my home to meet other investors, meet my friends. Let me introduce you to people that I know, like, and trust.
Yep.
So it's a matter of just, kicking up my networking game, kicking up my visibility. And really, I can't help people unless I can get to know them. Mm-hmm. They can't benefit from my group unless they can get to know me so that I can explain how my group would benefit them. But it all comes down to relationships. Everything I do is about the relationship.
Yep.
Surrounding myself with good people like yourself.
Yep. And this one, I'm eager to see what our relationship builds this year. So, and just to see what you can do. I've been on multiple of your Zooms. I'm going to have all JJ's information below. And I just wanted to thank you so much for coming and joining me.
Thank you so much. I really enjoyed it.
Thank you. I'm going to have all of his information. Please feel free to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Thanks.